This week on SV Lynx. Welcome to this week's SV Lynx video. Well, over at the lot this week, our main task is going to be building the Salon Table. And to do that, we have to make a decision whether it's going to be L-shaped or U-shaped. And the way we're going to go about that is to mock it up and see which one works best as we're building. We have done this on the computer, but in some cases it's just better to have the actual pieces and take a look at how it works.
Right, that gives you a better feel for the spatial relationship of the whole thing, just size and all that good stuff. And so we want to do that before we make that decision, so we'll show you that, and then once we decide, we'll get to work on that. So let's get right over to the lot, and we're going to take a look at that. But I just want to mention one more thing before we go. We're going to, being that it's New Year's week for us, remember this is a week behind, we're going to do our what we accomplished in 2024 review with video clips from all of the weeks of video that we shot in 2024. We're only going to take 2 little clips, and very short, like a second or 3, from each week of work. And yet you'll be surprised, there's still a lot that we accomplished. So let's get over the lot and we'll take a look at that stuff and then get to that review. It's Monday and it's a new job for this week, and our job for this week is going to be the Salon Table. We decided, we had many choices as to which job we wanted to do right now. We decided to work on the table because it does 2 things for us. One, it gives us a table, and we need one up here at times to put plans on and things like that, and while we're up here working. And the other thing is that we still have to make the decision whether this is going to be a U-shaped table or an L-shaped table. By the factory plan and the cutouts, it's a U-shaped table. So we want to build it up and sit down at it and see what we think before we make that decision. So when I say build it up, I mean temp build it up so that we can take a look at it before we do any gluing on there. So that's what we're up to. And so right there is the riser for it. Now we're going to have to extend the height of that because all of the seats are about 3 to 4 inches too low. That was just a mistake in the kit. They sent us risers for most of that, so we may have to do a couple custom pieces, but mostly they sent us fixes for that. So we're going to start temping this in. So first job is pull all this peel ply, and it's a really odd shaped piece, so we don't want to try to drag it back down again. So we're just going to use sawhorses up here and get this pulled. Peel pulling complete for now. This morning, Brian and I have been temping in the seating, and there's a few issues with this. The first is that the seat back here was too short. It was only 14 inches, so we're going to have to move that out a few inches to get to at least 17. And then the seats on the sides were too far out. They were like 27 inches, and they should really be 17, 18, somewhere in there. So we got to move those in. Same thing on this one. It was too far out, and we got to move it back. Now we'll have a consistent, let's call it 18 inches, or this in centimeters. So that'll give us a consistent seat around here. But that wasn't the only thing we were deciding today. We had the option, as I've mentioned, of going with a U-shaped table here like this. And what that gives you here is some storage underneath that arm here, but there's no back over there. So it's not extremely comfortable seating because there's no back, but it gives you a little storage. The problem is that you can only really seat 2 people, one there and one here at this table, and then one on each end. So that's 4 people around, and if we put chairs out there, you get 2 more, so you get 6 people. That's the maximum seating capacity of this U-shaped table. When we don't put chairs out there, which is most of the time, we can just seat 4 people. But we have the other option, and the other option is we get rid of and we go with an L-shaped seating. And there's some benefits here. First one is you still get the same amount of seats for when you're not using chairs. You get 1 person there, 1 person here, 1 person here, and 1 on the end. So you still get the same 4 people when you don't put any extra chairs there. But when you put the extra chairs there, you can put 3 chairs across that side of the table and 1 on the end. So suddenly you're seating 8 people here instead of 6 like the other table. So without chairs, you both seat 4. With chairs, this sheet seats 8 and the other only seats 6. We also get a longer table. So the table, instead of only going this far, is now going all the way out here. So we just get a bigger table as well. And the cost to us on this are we lose that little piece of storage sitting out right there. So that's a bit of a loss, but that's only that, and we get to see 8 people at this table. And I think that we have agreed on the decision that we're going to go with the L shape, because seating 8 people is nice, and having just a larger table, even if you're not sitting 8 people, just having a larger table is nicer as well. So we're going to make a bunch of adjustments here. So Brian and I have been cutting and cutting and cutting custom things. So this is the new layout of our seating area. So now it's this long L shape, as you can see. And all of the risers that we had to cut are on there. The only thing we have to do over here is we have to trim that off right there. And we already have the risers for in there. They're hiding down there right now. Probably have to trim this off at the end here. So it's flush over here. But the point being is that we had to cut pretty much every single piece to reconfigure this between changing to an L shape and the fact that the widths were wrong and the heights were wrong from the factory. So this is the way it's going to be now. And from a storage standpoint, you don't lift off this this bench. This bench is going to be permanently bonded here because you can access all the storage from the corridor there. The only removable that we need to have is over here, and so that we can access that storage right there from up here. But everything else, we're just going to seal that on there, and this one. And that gives us also access to, that's why we have that hole cut out there. That's where electrical comes up here in case we want to have some plugs out here for the table and such. But there's our table. Now we're tacking down the first few. We're going to do that little L shape there and a couple of the verticals here, so that by the time we come back, those will be hardened and make it a lot easier to work on the rest. Be a little less than a house of cards that it currently is. So we've already made sure that all the marks are right, and there's marks on the floor here that I can follow with my resin. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to tack this down. So hand me one of those and smooth out that little bit right there. we'll call it done. We got 2 risers here to bring it up to the same height as these. We remade these 2 so we don't have to do anything there. They're the right height. And with this one there, the next stage will be on, not tomorrow, tomorrow's New Year's, but on Friday, we're going to put the risers, we'll put this piece in permanently, and we'll put the risers that go on the tops of these. And that'll bring all of this to the exact same height all the way along. Our seat size is now an equal 18 inches of seat depth and this in centimeters, and that's the same over here as over here. I know this looks like it's larger, but it isn't, because it's this triangular piece that sits here, and that brings out the backrest out to here. So here we now show 18 inches. So that's exactly what it should be. All right, as you can see, we got a lot of stuff done in 2024. And we're going to get an equal amount done in 2025, which is going to push this boat pretty darn far forward. So what we're doing today is we glued in part of this, and this is the rest of it dry fitted here with our risers and stuff on. So we're going to get all of this, what I have dry fitted here, glued in here today so that we're ready to put the top of the seats down tomorrow. And so our goal of the week for this in 2024 and 2025, since New Year's was right in the middle, was to get this seating area for the table in here and done. Now the actual table will probably just temp a table in, because we're going to have to build a custom wood table for this. We'd already started working on one, but it was too small. Now that we've decided to expand it, we're going to have to rebuild that. So right now, we're going to mix up some epoxy and get this all glued in and get 2025 off to a rolling start. Just finished sanding this, and I just also wiped it all down. Brian's mixing epoxy right now, and we're going to glue all these pieces that go this direction on right now. We'll do the rest of those in a second batch. It's New Year's week, and like Christmas, we have a New Year's present for the boat. We had two of them actually, but we're just going to bring one out right now, and we're going to show it to you. First thing we have is directions in Chinese.
Great.
Those will be really helpful. Parts is parts, and we'll get to those later. That's just a... Okay, now I gotta try to lift this beast out of here. Lift with your legs. All right, I'm gonna go onto the table with this. Let me get it right side up. This is obviously our washer dryer combo. Where's the latch? There we go. We got stuff inside. All right, so the first thing you're going to notice about this little, and I mean little, washer dryer is this is not a huge thing. It's just big enough to do a set of sheets and pillowcases, or a pair of pants and a shirt, or some bathing suits, a couple t-shirts, those kinds of things. Very small, but it still can, do small loads like that. And of course, that's why we ordered two of these, because we have one on each side of the hull, and we can do two loads at once if we feel like it, and that'll double up the amount of stuff that we can get done. And it's light enough and small enough to fit into this very small area that we have in the boat. So, all in all, it's just what we were looking for. And it mounts onto a wall back here. This comes off, mounts first, and then the washer mounts onto it. But we're mounting it in a cupboard, but it'll still be sort of mounted to the wall, the back of the cupboard, and we'll leave some space underneath for the plumbing, which comes out at the bottom down there. So anyhow, that's our mini and I mean mini washer and dryer setups, the two of them. And we got a really good deal on these, ordering them through China. And I had no troubles whatsoever in the delivery and things. But there were some other ones we looked at from South Korea. It's a South. And those were twice as much. And so we got two of these for the price of the one. And they're the same size washing machine, exactly. So, that works out. So anyhow, we'll let you know how it actually works, meaning if it works and how well it works and those kinds of things after we've tested it. But at least we've got them. And the next thing you'll see is at the boat, I'll take the other one down there and take it out of the box there and see if it fits into the cupboards that we made for this. So we'll find out. We showed you our unboxing of the washer dryer, and that was one of them. This is the other one. And the reason that we're going to show you this right now is we're going to take it upstairs and see if the darn thing fits in the washer dryer compartments that we made into the holes already. So let's take a look at that. Come out. There we go. Just like the other one. So I'm going to hoist this up and to the boat and we'll take a look. All right, now we'll find out if it fits. It's upside down. That's better. It's just a quick fit, but yes, it does fit. And it was supposed to come in underneath of that mark right there, which it does. But of course, by the time we actually mount this, there's going to need some room underneath of it for our plumbing part down there. So it'll come up a little bit. But yes, it fits. Cool. And the other compartment on the other side is identical to this one, so if it fits in here, it fits in there. We're good to go. These are all glued in now, all these tops. So we're going to test fit our bench and then get marked where we're going to cut it off to make it L-shaped. Let's see. Let me out! Let me out! Okay. Swing your partner over. Okay. So, as we knew, this is way too long here, but we knew that. But we're going to cut slots here and take it back right now because that's why it's stuck out. We got to slot that in. So that's first up. And this has actually got to get cut back, oddly. Oh, this part is longer than what we have here. But this would have been a majorly wide seat because it's not that it has to slot in there because this is even over here. So we've got to cut this off, this off, pretty much the whole thing. So in other words, None of this fits. Because we got to slot this in so it'll come back some, but we still have to trim off some, and then there's a overhang here that has to get cut off, and that whole wing at the end has to get cut off. So we're chopping this baby up, but I do like the height of it. It's the first time I really sat down on it that we've got now. This is excellent for height, but I really can't test much else in the seating until we cut this all up. We have to create a curve in the corner of that because of the way the table wants to sit down so that it fills completely. So we're going to turn this piece into the curved piece that goes in there. So the first thing we're going to cut it off, and then we're going to kerf it quite a few times to get a nice bend around there. Perfect. Let's go upstairs and see what it looks like. We're also going to have to angle these. It's going to work. It's trimming. Okay. That's our weird piece, but it, hold on a second. Can't talk that way. There's our weird piece, so let's go upstairs and check it out. Okay, so there we go. We've got it in, and it makes that perfect curve around there now. And the reason we need this, of course, is that the table drops down to a bed here, and so we have to put a support along here, and then the table which has a curved edge like this, has to come in right there. So this has to match the table. So otherwise we can't come down to convert to a bed. There we go. So here's our L-shaped seat again. We're getting ready to put it in though, so we're going to put a beveled edge on here. Then we can roll the fiberglass over that rather than this hard 90. Okay. Okay, so we have our curved piece that goes there. We've got our bevel on the edge here. We've got it cut there. We've got it all trimmed. So what's left? What's left is we have to cut in a hatch right here.
Cutting the hatch in over on here. Again, this side doesn't need hatches because we can access it from the other side. But we're going to put a hatch in on this one so that we can store stuff in here and get into it. So right now we're going to go inside and start gluing in the supports for the hatch and stuff in there.
All right. So the hatch is in and ready. The one down below is done. And this one here. We decided to keep this, we didn't want this super thin here. So I doubled up along here so that this frame has twice as much to land on. And then the hatch will land on the inner one right there. And along the back there, that back piece will stick out from here so it'll land, something will land on there. So we didn't glue down the top of this, unfortunately, because we have to let that set up first. But it's not much left to do that. Come Monday, we'll just be putting down glue and setting this down. So it's just one more step. But we really need to let that set up before we can do that. So we're going to call it a day and a week. But we hope you enjoyed boat building, and of course we took some time off this week from New Year's Eve, but And oh, I hope you enjoyed the what we did in 2024. In pulling all that out of all those, I had to go back through all the footage to pull out some shots. And I couldn't believe how much work we got done in 2024. I'm very proud of Brian and myself and all the other workers and helpers like Jeff and Terry and all of the rest who've come out and helped us. So thank you to all of our crew who've come out and helped. We got an unbelievable amount done. I mean, beginning of 2024, we just had 2 hulls that weren't finished. And by the end of 2024, we're standing inside of a boat. And yeah, there's a lot of work to go still, but we went from very little to a whole bunch of things completed. And so we're very proud of that. And we're going to try to make 2025 just as good. And, you know, boy, I hate making predictions on something like this, but here's my hope. How's that? Instead of a prediction. My hope is that this boat, not only every piece of green is glued together, all of what's left to go, and there's quite a bit with the galley and the helm station and the nav station and the seating up front table and all of the cabins and the bathrooms, all that stuff. So there's a lot to go, but I'm hoping to have all of this glued on by May of this year, 2025, and the entire boat faired and painted by the end of 2025. So we'll be down to just finish work, electrical, plumbing, cabinetry, finish work, countertops, putting in all of the acrylic glass and hatches and that kind of stuff. So that's my wish and hope, is that that's where we're at the end of 2025, but you'll have to stick around to find out if we actually make that. So I'm going to head home, and the Admiral's off work now, and so I will chat with her, and we'll do a little follow-up on this.
So, as you saw on the video, we decided to go with an L-shaped table. We decided that we wanted to be able to sit 8 people instead of 6, and we were willing to lose a little bit of storage to accomplish that.
Right, so we're happy with that, although our good friend Terry is less happy. He was constructing the wood tabletop for us, and he was maybe halfway done with that, and now we expanded the size of the table, so Terry's going to have to start from scratch and build the table again. But he's a good guy, and I already told him, and he didn't think any big deal about that. So you know, that's all good. So next week we're going to get to. I'm thinking we're going to pull those soles up out of the hulls, take the temporary walls out, and get to work on building our gray water and diesel fuel tanks, and of course all the plumbing that goes in underneath it there, because until we seal up that sole floor, we can't really get to work on the walls above it and all the cupboards and for the heads and all that good stuff. So we're gonna have to bite the bullet and go work in the bilge, which is not my favorite place to work because we're standing on curved surfaces and all that stuff. But we've got to get it done, and we got to get it done on both sides of the boat. Darn catamarans. That's that redundancy thing. So thank you all for spending time with us and watching our video. We do appreciate that.
And thank you to all our patrons listed here. We appreciate you so much.
Yes, thank you.
And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the bell icon to be notified of our next video.
See you next week for some bilge work. See you then.
Bye.